All right, at last we come to part 3 of my awesome tutorial. Here I'm going to show you how to add a cute little cap brim and also a very cool fisherman or bucket hat brim. And we'll also make a shorter crown shape and a faster construction method. Now if you already have your top attached to your crown from part 2, you can just skip to the brim part. Remember to check the description for links to part 1 and 2 of this tutorial, my written blog version, and a full pattern in my Etsy store. So cut the cans just like we did in part 1, but a little bit smaller, about 3 inches square. Why a shorter crown? Well, it's a little bit faster, obviously, and it might be a little less, shall we say, dorky looking? A bit more wearable, I guess. But also possibly less of a showstopper, in my opinion. I think where beer can party hats are concerned, bigger is definitely better. But, you know, I want to give you options. Punch the holes the same as before, just 4 on each side. Also, let me repeat myself one more time that I fully expect you to start taking delicious specialty canned beers to parties and events, and then live crocheting a very special hat gift for your host, dazzling your family and friends, showing the world how funky and cool crochet can be, and for sure leaving as the craft nerd hero of the night. Yes, win, win, win. Okay, time to crochet. So we're going to crochet around the edges of the can labels just like in part 1, except we're not going to add the second round of single crochet like we did before. We're going to make up for it in other ways, which will become clear in a moment. So here's where things get a little interesting. We're going to join them just as they are, but with a slightly different stitch this time, a single crochet 2 together. Hold 2 labels back to back. I find it easier to hold one closest to me, the front label, a bit lower than the far label, which I'll call the back label. So lining up the stitches of both labels, we're going to work a single crochet 2 together. Pull the first loop through the front label and the second loop through the back label, and then finish the stitch. Continue across. You want to work corner stitch to corner stitch, and you want to work each seam in the same direction. Now be careful not to pull the stitches too tight on this one, because looser is definitely better with this part. Now repeat for all labels until you have a crown. Okay, now we're going to finish the edges. Instead of working singles along the edge as we did in part 1, this time we're going to work doubles along the top and bottom edges. At the joints, you want to work 2 stitches into that joining stitch, 1 on either side of the ridge. That way it'll fit to the top just right. So to add the top to the hat, follow the directions in part 2 exactly for the regular hat shape, and it should fit just right. I just love this variegated green yarn. I chose it partly because it's just classic crochet, you know? It reminds me of the 70s and Afghans, but also it matches the cans so well. With the brown, I think it looks like the forest, which is all around me, by the way. And Sierra Nevada, so nostalgic for me. It just feels like home. Like when I first moved to Humboldt County and learned to drink real beer. It's such a staple around here. I guess probably like Bud is in some places, you know? And the artwork is great too. Yeah, I like this one. I know, I'm a craft nerd and I love it. Okay, the cap brim is going to run from the center of one label to the center of the second label over, right where my thumbs are. Now, don't freak out, but you will be one stitch off from the center at one end. And I don't know, the numbers just worked out that way. You'll be all right. So starting in the center of any label, work 29 single crochets along the edge, ending in the center plus one of the other label. So here we're working in rows, so chain one and turn at the end of each row. Row 2 is going to be half double crochet. Decrease at each end by working 2 together, and then work increases between the numbers I'm about to give you, kind of similar to the top. So it's decrease at both ends, 5 stitches, 6, 6, and then 5 with increases in between those numbers. If that doesn't make sense, check the blog post. It might be easier to understand. For row 3, just work straight single crochets across. Row 4 is half doubles again. So decrease at both ends, then it's 8, 8, 8 with increase between those numbers of stitches. Again, if that doesn't make sense, check out the blog, it might be clearer. Row 5 is single crochet. This time decrease on both ends, but otherwise just work the stitches straight across and then tie off. Now we're going to finish up the edge by joining a new yarn at the back of the hat and then single crochet around until you get to the brim. When you get to the inner corners where the brim starts, work 2 together. Then 4 stitches up the side of the brim, ending in the corner. Slip stitch across the front of the brim, do another single in the corner, plus 3 more down the side. Again, work 2 together into that inner corner, and then continue working singles all the way around, and then you can tie it off. Now for this brim, we're going to increase, that's 2 stitches into 1 space, each round just like we did for the top in part 2. For each successive round, we will add 1 stitch between increases. This time it's all double crochet until the last round, which is singles. So round 1 is doubles with 11 stitches between the increases. Round 2 is doubles with 12 stitches between increases. Round 3 is 13 doubles between increases, and this is the last round of doubles. In round 4, we'll tighten up the edge by working single crochet. We're still increasing though, so work 14 single crochet between increases and tie it off. So while I'm finishing up here, I had the brilliant idea to make a whole separate beer can party hat tutorial that's just the down and dirty essential parts of this 3-in-1 without all the extra bells and whistles, so you can get right down to business. I think that's a pretty good idea, so look out for that pretty soon. This is so much fun. I hope you're having fun too, and I can't wait for the next one. I'll see you there.